Now, I want to say thank you very much, Edward, for putting this together. And also thank you so much, Selena, for that very powerful and insightful presentation. I believe that if I don't have to, or if I do not add anything at all, what you have said is enough to keep us going. But be it as it may, I'll have to add a thing or two. So a bit about myself. I'm sure most of you know me because my story is all over the place and out there. My name is Stephen Adjei-Laryea. You may want to add the engineer because we say I am an engineer. I work for AngloGold Ashanti in the Obuasi mine, and I am a member of the engineering leadership team that runs the mine basically. I just want to sound a disclaimer that this meeting or this event is everything I share here is my own opinion, and they do not represent that of my employer, that is AngloGold Ashanti. So please, if you have to quote me on anything I say, quote Steve Adjei-Laryea and don't quote AngloGold Ashanti, because everything is my personal opinion. All right, having said that context, I think the question for this event was, so what happens after national service? And for me, it's quite straightforward. We all do national service. The intent of it was that we serve the nation because somehow we have been helped by the nation to obtain or acquire education and knowledge, and so we have to give back. And that's the whole intent of national service. If you are able or you are lucky to have your national service in an organization that is somehow related to what you studied in school, then that gives you a very good advantage. But you know, not many people and not so many of us do get that opportunity. And so you realize that people will study at Greek and they will find themselves in the classroom. People will study engineering and they will find themselves, with all due respect, on the street directing traffic and things like that. And so then it comes to a time like now, August, where we all come to the end of the national service period. And then the big question is, what next? I think after national service, one really has to decide on what they want to do with their lives. And by making a decision, what I have in mind is you can decide whether you want to be in the academia, okay? And so for some of us, we would find ourselves becoming TAs. We would find ourselves getting scholarship after national service to do our masters or MPhils and things like that. And we'll find ourselves doing PhD and come back to the same university or other universities and then impart knowledge and teach. And so if that is our passion to go into academics, then you have to make that decision right after national service. For some of us, we have the passion to do things on our own, i.e. starting businesses, creating value on everyday things that people do not even think about. And so put all together in a box that is called entrepreneurship. And then that is what people do, start businesses, small startups as we call them, and then grow these businesses and employ other people as well by so doing. Making money and a living for themselves. And so you have to decide if that is the thing for you. And then so many of us will find ourselves in corporate organizations where we basically would work for other people and for other companies. It is very important to make that decision right after national service, because everything that you will do from that point on is based on where you are going. If you are going into the academics, then you probably would have to start thinking about a master's degree right after national service, because you know, in the academics, it is more of the educational and academic qualification and not so much of competence and work experience. If you are the one who wants to become an entrepreneur, you of course know what to do. You need to know what problem you are solving, and then you need to know what commodity you are adding value to, you know, to help mankind, to help organize your community, and then to help raise some money and make your own life better as well. And then if you are going into the corporate world, of course, you know that after national service, you need some experience and competence. And so having said that and decided, I am assuming that so many of us on this call would want to go to the root of corporate world. And so let's then now zoom in on what happens once you have decided to become an employee and not work for yourself or not become an academic in that regard. I think Selena and Edward have said so much about it. And the first thing you need to, I think, do after national service, even whilst you are still there, is to think about your CV. And like the Bible said, our children are the message we send to a world that is not known by us. And so in this regard, our CV is the words or the image of ourselves that we send to a world that we have not even stepped foot there before. What that means is that you have to spend a lot of time and a lot of effort on your curriculum vitae. It is so important. I see so many people just go to the internet and copy templates and then put things on their CVs that they have not even done before or understand what those things mean. These are the CVs that would not even get you an interview, let alone get you a job. And so my suggestion is that if you decide to become an employee and work for someone after national service, spend a lot of time on your curriculum vitae and make your CV represent who you are, represent your brand, represent your beliefs and aspirations, and let your CV be able to fetch you an interview. Because at the end of the day, all you send your CV out for is for someone to call you for an interview, so you go and demonstrate that you are what your CV says, or you are even more. And so if you have constantly sent CVs out and you are not getting interview opportunities, I suggest that instead of throwing your hands in despair and blame everyone, please do a great job on your CV. I spent a whole day at some point in 2014 or 15 thereabout with a very respectable HR practitioner in this country to work on my CV. And just to let you know, at that age and within that year, I was still working and I was, by the grace of God, doing well. But I thought my CV needed a revamp. And so I had to beg this person and spend a whole day from morning to evening to go through my CV and let my CV represent who I am and what I want to become. If you have to spend many days or travel to go see someone just so your CV becomes better, I don't think it's a bad investment because you are doing it for yourself. So that is one thing that I think you have to decide and work hard on after national service. It's paramount and it's the base on which everything is built. The next one is competence versus experience. We know that in the world of business, usually when people are starting out, they are asking which company pays more and how much jobs are paid for and which role is getting how much money and all of that. I think whilst that is good because we all want money, like Selena said, after national service, even for the guy who did his or her service in an organization, you barely have a year's experience, right? And so in my opinion, money or incentives should not be a focus or your primary focus after national service. I think your focus should be to develop yourself, to gain experience and build competence. If I have to tell a little story, and so I finished my national service, I did it between 2005 and 2006. And when I finished my national service, before the company I worked for would call me back to come and do what they call in apprenticeship before I was hired, I had done 2 jobs already. And so whilst I was still a national service person, I applied for a job, I got the interview, and then the day after national service, I started working for this company. I didn't care how much they were going to pay me. And truth of the matter is that I worked in that place, I think, for close to a month before I moved on to another job, and I got no penny for it. But what I still have today, and I appreciate, is the experience and the knowledge that I gained from that organization. Then I started a job, which was also to be trained as a management trainee. I did that for just a day, all right? And then my former company called me to come and do what they called apprenticeship. And then I was going to be hired the following year in January, which happened. So you would realize that the period between national service, which is usually end of August and December of that year, I did all these basic things. And in most cases, I got nothing in return by way of money. But what did I get? Experience and competence. And that was very important. And it's one of the things that has helped me up until this time, of course, by the grace of God as well. So focus more on gaining experience and focus more on being competent in what you do instead of getting money. We know we live in a world that you can't do anything without money. Our life is fast paced these days. Everybody wants to use an iPhone. Everybody wants to wear the latest. But unfortunately, if you focus on that at the beginning of your career, then you are going to, be building your house on a foundation that is not very solid. And guess what? When a very big wind blows, guess whose house will go down? And we don't want our houses to go down like that. And so let's please focus on building our competencies and our experience, because it's an investment, and one day that would earn you a very big return on that investment. The next one is, look, like Edward mentioned to Selena, hardly would a day go by without someone sending me a message on LinkedIn for a job opportunity or things like that. And one thing which is a trend is always clear, and people would always start, and let me use Edward as an example. I'm not picking up on him, but people would start and say, "Hi, Steve, my name is Adjei-Laryea. I hold a BSc in X, Y, and Z, and I'm looking for a job opportunity." I don't know if that is a template people have picked from wherever, but usually all the messages I get are in that format. And I try as much as possible to respond to as many as I can. And sometimes, because of a busy world, you can't respond to all. But every time I respond, I let people know that employers these days are not looking for people who only have degrees. They're looking for people who can solve problems. And why do we go to school to obtain degrees and diplomas and all of that? Just so we can speak in a certain language and be able to use the knowledge we have acquired to solve problems. And so if you are going to someone to ask for a job, go and let the person know what problems in the organization you can solve for them. Selena mentioned cold calls, and some work sometimes, but if you call somebody who doesn't know you and you start introducing yourself by the qualifications you have, I bet you $1 million that it is going to put people off. Okay, every manager has a pain. Everybody recruiting has a pain that they are recruiting for. There is a problem they are recruiting someone to come and solve. And so whether I am recruiting or whether I'm not recruiting, if you want to talk to me about work, then talk to me about the problems you can solve for my organization, which comes to the point of doing your own research. You can't talk to me about a problem in my organization if you don't know what problems a typical engineering manager faces in a day. You can't talk to me about what my organization goes through if you have no idea what safety is about and things like that. So you have to do your own research and know what pains managers are going through before you call them or before you ask them for a job. In the many years ago, using your degree as a trump card probably worked, but in our days, it just doesn't work. And so please be mindful of this. And when you are speaking to people about job opportunities, let your conversation go in the direction of what you have done before, or what you can do, or what problems you have solved, what code you can, what app you can develop to solve what problem, what process you can help to make profitable and efficient, how you can help a person or an organization do what they are doing better. Those should be the conversations you should have when you make your cold calls, or when you get into people's inboxes and ask them for help about a job. Always going with your degree mostly would put people off than for people to really open your message and help you out. The other point I want to add is that after national service, you're basically starting your life, okay? And so this issue of planning your career and have a career path and all of that, if you are not careful, that is going to lock you in a corner where it will be difficult to come out, okay? We have people who studied chemical engineering and are doing supply chain now and are doing extremely well. Some of my mates, we studied mechanical engineering together, they work in banking and they're doing fantastic. Others have become preachers, okay? Others have become, oh God knows what. It's all because they knew what they wanted from the beginning, but they allowed themselves some flexibilities. And so after national service, don't be so fixated on this career planning, career path thing, because in my opinion, it puts you in a corner where it is always difficult to come out. Know what you want for sure, know where you want to get to in 5 years, in 10 years, but be flexible at the beginning and be open-minded to many options, because sometimes you study petroleum engineering and you may find yourself doing something statistically, engaging that helps a business to improve a process. And before you know, you have become a business improvement professional, something that you didn't. But by doing so from the beginning, you will begin to get the interest and you begin to build upon it. But if you say, I studied accounting, for example, and so if I see a supply chain job, I'm not going to go close to it, or if I see a sales job, I won't get close to it, or if I see a marketing job, no, that's for marketing people. I think that that is not really helpful from the beginning. If you gain 5 years, 10 years experience, or you begin to do what you have always wanted to do, and you do that for a long time, then you can confidently say that, I mean, you have built an experience. Like in Selena's case, I'm not sure she will see a sales job now and want to switch, because she has built a career in HR. But assuming she did her national service in the bank, but found herself becoming a teller because that was what was available at the time, and she did it, I bet you $1 million, she probably would have done some ACCA or some banking course, and she probably would be a branch manager for some bank, because she allowed herself that flexibility from the beginning. And then she began to find that she had passion for something different than the HR that she had gone to study. So I think knowing what you want and knowing where you want to go to is very important, but allowing yourself some flexibility at the beginning is even more important, just so that you can pick bits and pieces, and then you know where you would go to by the time you have done something for a year or two consistently. If degrees are just, help us to be universal, and so don't just please be fixated. People have studied many degrees in many disciplines and are doing something far more different from what they studied, and it's because they allowed themselves that flexibility from the beginning. The other one I would want to add is that we all, I talked about building experience and building internship, and I know that's a very, very big topic. I did a post on that last week on LinkedIn, and the readership and the engagement has been very encouraging, which is what makes me believe that it's a big topic. Now, the big question is, how do we find the organizations to build our experiences and competence if nobody is willing to hire me because I have only done a year's national service, or I haven't taught in the classroom and I don't have experience and all of that? I think the problem we have most of the time is that we all look for the big companies. And so everybody wants to do their national service or attachment or internship with Anglo Gold Ashanti. Every single person who went to UMass, for example, want to do their internship with either a mining company or a mine service provider. Whilst it works for some people, it doesn't always work for everyone, okay? And I'm telling you this in authority, that it is what you do for an organization that matters. It is not so much which organization you work for, especially at certain levels. And so look closer to yourself when you are seeking internship. You did engineering, okay? You have finished national service, you are home. You want Gapoha, you want Valco, you want Anglo Gold, you want Newmont, to hire you into the engineering team and give you an opportunity for internship. And these companies have not done it. And so you are depressed and you are blaming everyone. I know it's not a good state to be in, but the question I'm asking is, what about that auto shop around your community? What about the garage down the road that has been set up properly and is doing tire alignment and oil changes? Have you thought of that? Or we think we can only gain experiences when we get to do internships in big companies? That's not, your focus is to get the experience. It's not so much about the company. And truth of the matter is, if you get involved with a smaller company, you learn how to execute. Many people who are on this call and have done their internship with big companies will tell you, most of the time, you can walk in 3 months and walk out without achieving a lot or what you expected to achieve, because they already have a setup. They are more systems driven. They are more bureaucratic organizations. And if you find yourself in a government institution, that is even probably worse, because you end up being sent to go buy granules and coffee Brookman all the time. Is that what you really want, that you have SNIT on your CV, that you did your internship with SNIT, and when I give you a profit and loss account and you can't tell me whether the company is healthy or not? Is that what you really want? Or you want to look at an accounting or an auditing firm that is down the road, where they are really going to give you profit and loss account to analyze, and you work out after 3 months being able to appraise the company and say a company is profitable? We have to define our focus. And I think that there are opportunities around us, but sometimes, and most of the time, we do not look closer. We look everywhere for opportunity and leave the ones around us. My friend Said just visited me this afternoon. We sat here talking for a long time. He works for a drilling company, which is the best or the biggest drilling company in the whole world, with a revenue of over $2 billion turnout. And guess what his role is? He's a senior engineer for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, overseeing so many operations. He's my mate. We went to school together. Do you know where he did his internship? Gorman Motors in Cape Coast. All right. This is a wayside shop that is somewhere in Cape Coast, because in our time, what mattered to us was the experience. It was not so much because of the company. I did my internship with a company that it did not give me a penny, but I had to, in the end, go and buy my own insurance package, because they wanted me to insure myself against any liability, that in the event that I got injured or something, so they would not be held reliable. I went, paid for the insurance, and I did the internship. Guess who is reaping the benefit? Me today, okay? I didn't do internship with all these big companies that all of us are fixated about. If you get a big company, it is good. Make the best out of it. Please do, by all means. But if you don't get it, don't blame everybody. Don't blame people. Take your own life into your own hands, because everyone has the potential, and look around you. Don't rant on social media, because every dot you put on social media is living a history that an employer would come another day to look at. And so and then I see this on LinkedIn all the time, and I get worried. Young people ranting on LinkedIn, wanting to be freedom fighters. All these companies not doing X, Y, and Z. Look, it is good. You will get the likes, you will get the comment, you get the engagement. You may want to go back a month or two and delete it. Someone has screenshotted. You have no idea what that would do to you someday in the event that something big is coming your way, okay? And so I believe another day we would have a chance to talk about social media and your brand and visibility and all of that. But please, what you are after is the experience. What you are after is the competence. And so if anything is what you would put there, let it be something that would attract somebody to want to give you the experience. Don't be like Shatawale, with all due respect, and rant and think that a year after today, Chatterhouse will call you and you become the VGMA Artist of the Year and your career will resurrect after that. It may work in the entertainment industry, but in the corporate world, it doesn't work like that. So let's just be mindful. But I mean, point I'm trying to make is, if you get a big company, by all means, do your internship, go get your experience. But if you don't sit and wait, do something with your life. Find a smaller company around your area, because even that is where you would learn execution. And when you get to go to a big company, that would help you the most. And the last thing I want to add before, if anyone has questions, is communication. Okay, so everything I have said, the foundation is good communication. And we know not everyone would speak like I do, and I don't expect everyone to be an orator. We all can't be Barack Obama, okay? Not all of us would be Rollins and be so energetic and so what we call it, charismatic, and have everyone listen to us when we speak. But if you can't talk about what you can do, if you cannot talk about what you have done before, or if you cannot talk about what you are doing now to somebody who is a prospective employer, then you have a problem. In fact, it's a big problem. And I get worried when people go around saying, this is who I am, and because these days employers are looking for people who can sit at interview and rattle, and because I went there and I couldn't rattle, they say I'm not good. I don't think that's the case, my brother and my sister. Nobody is expecting you to come sit at an interview and rap. But people are expecting you to come sit an interview and be able to convince them, because whether you are in sales, whether you are in engineering, whether you are wherever you are, you would have to sell something at any point in time in your career. It's either it's an idea you are selling to your boss, or it's an idea you are selling to your team, or it's a product, or it's a service, either goods or something like that. And so if you can't talk about what you do, don't just accept that fact that this is who I am and so I'm not going to change. I think you can make a conscious effort by reading more, by listening to people when they talk, by spending your time on YouTube and observe good communicators. If we can have time to go on Instagram and Facebook and read all the comments about Sewa here and something she has done or has not done, posted by someone, whether a person or a computer or a robot, I think that is a waste of your precious time. You can use that to go on LinkedIn or go on YouTube and listen to Nelson Mandela, or listen to Martin Luther King, or listen to Barack Obama and pick a word or two. You can use that to read a book or to read an article, because that will give you a vocabulary, or that would help you to pick a word or two. You know, don't focus so much on what do not give you profit or benefit. At one point in your life, when you are holidaying and you are sitting by the beach and drinking whiskey or cocktail, you can have a lot of time to surf the internet and look at some of these unnecessary things. But at this point, don't give them the traffic for them to make money whilst you make your own life poor. Thanks, Edward. I will take questions now.